Okay, so I'm going to go over CMAP and the GOACH 2040 plan. This is our comprehensive plan for the 7-county region that we just published in the fall of 2010, and it features local food policy. So a little bit before I get started, I want to go, is everyone familiar with CMAP? Is everybody, yay, everyone in the room? Okay. Just for those of you who aren't, we were formed in 2005. We were formed from two predecessor agencies. One is the Northeastern Illinois Planning Commission, and the other is Chicago Area Transportation Study. One focused on transportation, and NIPSI focused on mostly land use planning and environmental aspects. And we thought that it made sense to combine them into one agency. So now we have CMAP, and CMAP takes into account transportation, land use, environment, and housing, all these issues together at one agency under the building that we're in. We've got about 100 staff members, including a bunch of interns, a bunch of people, all working toward bringing this region to be more productive and just an overall better quality of life. So, and it is the 7 counties. You can see the map here of Northeastern Illinois. So our main agency product, if you want to call it that, is the GOACH 2040 plan. It is the comprehensive plan for the region. It's an advisory document. And it's been going, we've worked on it for the last couple of years to get it to the point we have now, and now we're in implementation. But it's taken us a while to get there. At first we did the visioning part, so we went out to the region and asked residents and partner agencies what they were looking for, what they envisioned Northeastern Illinois being in the next 50, 20 years. And they gave us their feedback, so we gathered that. We did an inordinate amount of research of existing conditions, so what is exactly going on in the region now in terms of housing, in terms of the open space that we have, in terms of kind of taking stock of the benefits and the characteristics of our region as it is now. Because before you can move forward, you need to know where you're at. The next step was doing an extensive public output campaign, so we had these computer kiosks you can see in the back room there that we put up at public events. We hosted community meetings throughout the region. We probably had, I'm not sure exactly how many, but lots of meetings, I can assure you, to gather what people's opinions are on the draft that we put out. And then finally, we came up with the preferred scenario. So this is taking all the public input, taking all the research that we had, came up with a preferred scenario of how the region wants to look in the next couple of decades. So we took all of this and put it into a lovely, I think, 600-page document. We have an executive summary, so don't be scared. It's broken up into several sections, the first of which is challenges and opportunities. This kind of lays out the groundwork of what can be done and what the opportunities are for the region. The bulk of it is the recommendations chapter. That's broken up into 4 subcategories. They house our top 12 recommendations, one of which is support sustainable local food. That is in the livable communities section, along with a bunch of others. So that's why we're here, promote sustainable local food. So what exactly does that chapter say, you might be asking yourself? One of the first things I think we should talk about is what is local food. That is one of the things that when we were going out to the communities, everyone seemed to have a different definition of what they considered local. For our chapter, we said that it's directly consumed, so it's direct consumption products that are grown, produced, managed, sold, packaged within our region and adjacent regions. A lot of times people kind of pigeontail local food by mileage, so they'll say, well, local food is only 200 miles from the center, it's only 300, it's 150. There's a lot of varying degrees, so we didn't want to make it quite so static. We said adjacent regions because we do realize that a lot of food is produced within a day's drive of us, and we didn't pick a specific mileage. So now to kind of understand what local food means to CMAP, we broke out the recommendations into 3 major areas of local food production, food access, and to basically just create overall awareness. Those are the 3 main areas that we saw that we wanted to highlight as a region. So the first is we recommend increasing production of local food. As you can see in the graph up there, the number of farms from, I think it's 1997 to 2007 has actually decreased, and in the last couple of years after 2002 has increased. So it's kind of an interesting trend, where at the same time the graph's not showing up. So while the number of farms is actually decreased and increased, the number of acreage that is dedicated to local food production has been constantly decreasing. So we have an increase in number of farms in the region, but a decrease in acreage, and that's been consistent over the last several decades. That leads us to believe that there's more farms, but with smaller acreage. The second area that we wanted to focus on as a region is improving food access. Food access is just folks' ability to access local food, to get healthy food within a reasonable distance. Right now, 9% of our region's residents live in food deserts. In 2040, at the end of the plan, when everything in the plan is done, the region is lovely, we want to have this goal eliminated down to 0, and that's the target that we put in the comprehensive plan. And I just wanted to point out that it's not necessarily all the food deserts and the low access areas is another term that's used for them. They're not all within, largely urban areas. There are some that are out in the extending suburbs and the western part of our region. So it's not just where you might typically think a food desert would be. They are all over, and it's all different people that are affected. So it's not just one location or one type of folk or something like that. The third area that we talk about is creating access. So this photo, is from Growing Home in Inglewood. This is one of my favorite photos that I've seen. And it's Growing Home is a great example. Hopefully everyone is familiar with this. It's really getting people and connecting food together in the same area. So people have healthy options, so they have a choice, and they can make their own decision of what they would like to eat and what kind of health direction they want to take themselves in. So we've got these 3 kind of issue areas that we went over in the plan, and in order to achieve those, increase production, increase access, and to create awareness, we outlined a couple of policies and implementation areas to get us to that point. Several of them are listed up here. I don't go into too much detail of them, but we do touch on the need to reevaluate the federal food policies that we currently have and the regulations that are at the national level. We talk about farmland protection programs. We'll get into a little bit of that later, because we have some of the best high quality soil in the United States, so that's something that we can hold on to, and that's one of our positives. We also talk about urban agriculture. Urban agriculture is kind of a hot topic right now. Everybody's interested in it. It does have a key component to what we can do here in the region. There's a lot of available space that could be, if proper policies and funding were in place, could be quite a good thing for us. We also talked about institutional support. A lot of places that have been pretty successful have pulled in the government agencies and are not necessarily requiring, but maybe providing incentive for schools and prisons and those type of facilities to use local food and to contract with them. We also talk about building regional capacity. As you know, there's a lot of groups that are doing local food in the region, and we want to bring them all together in one area so everyone's talking together, so we're not duplicating effort and we're moving forward together. And one of our recommendations was for a regional food entity that would handle that for the region, and also could possibly apply for funding for the region as well.